Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Series A, Dhamma talk number 42. In the last Dhamma talk we were discussing about insight into the arising and passing away of mind and matter. Udaya Baya Jnana. And there one starts to see very clearly and sharply the arising of the objects, both physical or mental. Very clearly and sharply arising and then passed away with clarity. And also one felt like there's no effort is needed to apply. It is like automatic, you don't miss. At the beginning part, initial part of that insight, one see more clearly on the arising. And then when it arrives to the a little more skillful stage, the mid stage, you can see both arising and passing away quite sharply and clearly. And then when it comes to the mature state, these arising and passing away become faster and faster and faster. Before it is really, you feel good just observing this thing. And then when it becomes faster and faster, it becomes more and more difficult to have that pleasant feelings or sensation. And it is even more difficult to actually focus. And you feel like suddenly all these pleasant feelings and sensations are gone, and it becomes more a little irritable because you have lost the comfort, proper perfect timing of these clarity of arising and passing away. So it becomes faster and faster and faster, and you can even see the interruption, so to speak, or a jagged kind of feeling of observing these arising and passing away. And then slowly and slowly, arising become less and less clear, become more obscure, and the passing away become faster and faster. You feel a bit irritated, little off balance. And then suddenly that speed of arising and passing away become a lot faster. You don't see the arising anymore. And when you don't see the arising anymore, everything you see, you observe is simply passing away. In other words, you see something and instantly it dissolves. You see something, instantly it dissolves. There's no beginning, there's no midsection, simply passing away or dissolving, dissolving, dissolving. Some of the yogis reported in such a way, it seems like shadows coming and going, coming and going. All that you see is a little shadow, a shade, and gone, shades and gone. Everything. If I have to explain in a way that you can gauge what kind of observation you are experiencing is, let's see you are driving on a highway, straight highway. You can drive 110 kilometers an hour, and there's a forest, okay, a bunch of pine trees at the side. Big forest, and whatever you drive is, these are the pine forests. And when you are driving like that, what you see is at the corner of your eyes, you see these trees, but you do not really see them. Okay? You have an understanding those are trees, but simply as soon as you think, you focus on a tree or a group of trees at a certain spot. You look at it, and all that you see is they just simply disappear. You look at it, they disappear, they disappear, disappear. You are driving at 110 kilometers an hour, and the tree seems to, as soon as you see them, they simply disappear. That's what it means by some of the yogis are like a shadow. All that you see is a shadow. That kind of speed, whatever objects that you are observing simply disappear or dissolve. You are noticing the rising movement. In the rising movement, at that level, it is not just that one rising. One big rising composed of 30, 40, 50 mini movements, all these little movements. And whenever you are observing these little movements, what you see is simply just like a shadow. They passed away, they passed away, they are passed away. And also in the falling movement, the same thing. Everything is, you don't have a sense, a feel, a sensation of the beginning, but simply the dissolution or dissolving. The same thing while you're doing walking meditation, you're lifting. Lifting is a series of movements, simply just passing away, passing away, passing away. Very high speed. It passed away at such a speed you cannot feel it, you cannot see it. Simply it is just disappear into the black hole. That kind of a feeling. So in every action that you are doing, you sense these kind of a feeling. Of course, don't expect that you are walking 1 hour back and forth, continuously 1 hour, you'll be experience these things. You may not, or you may, depending on how deeply your concentration is, how deep your concentration is. But you'll be seeing uncountable number of times of these quick succession of passing away throughout that 1 hour. The same thing with the sitting, rising, falling. Simply just disappear, disappear. So that's a kind of a feeling, sensation, knowing arises at this stage. And this stage in Pali, it's called Benganyana. It is the insight knowledge into the dissolution, or insight knowledge into the passing away of mind and matter. We are only talking about matter, rising movement, falling movement. The same thing when you're observing. Some people only see these rising and falling of the material product. But some yogi with a sharper intelligence and deeper concentration, they can see the arising and passing away of these movements. And also the mind that knows it. passed away. The movement passed away, and the mind that knows passed away. The movement passed away, the mind that knows passed away. You can see that two phenomena simply disappearing successively in succession, one after the other. That is the way one can see it. The object arises and passes away, and the mind that knows arises and passed away. The mind that observes arises and passed away. Mindful mind also arises and passed away. That kind of experience, both in the Nama and Rupa, both in materiality and in mentality, you will see that successive passing away of all objects which is in your field of attention at that present moment. So this is Pinganyana, and what it entails is what you are experiencing is impermanence, or anicca in Pali. Anicca, impermanence, or a constant states of change, flux of change, impermanence, disappearing, dissolving. Okay. That what you are experiencing. You come to know everything passed away, not even arising, it's passed away, it's passed away. It is the epic experience of experiencing the common characteristic of mind and matter, which is anicca, one of the three, or impermanence. I say, with using the words epic, or the experience of passing away or impermanence, because while you were at the, let's say, number 3 level, if you remember, first of all is you come to an awareness of discriminative awareness of mind and matter, and secondly you come to the understanding of the causal relationship between mind and matter, and thirdly you come to know the we call samasana jnana, clear comprehension of the 3 characteristics of mind and matter. In other words, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, the first time you actually experience and understand. Around that time, you had understood, first of all, of dukkha, suffering first, and then into the nature of passing away. You have already experienced it, you have already understood it. And then suddenly you go to the 4th insight, which is arising and passing away. There you can see this passing away a lot clearer and a lot sharper than number 3 stage. In other words, you have a deeper experience into the passing away, anicca. You have understood before, now you understand at number 4 level. Oh, I really understand now what anicca means, what passing away means. Everything arises and passes away. And then suddenly you come to the number 5 insight level, which is Pinganyana, insight knowledge into dissolution or passing away. At that time, you experience in such a way you cannot even experience that arising or a stage of successive change or existing, but simply a shadowy figure passing away, passing away, passing away. So in other words, you are also experiencing anicca, impermanence, but in the highest level that one could experience or understand anicca. That's what this whole meditation about, insight meditation. Everything is you are experiencing anicca, dukkha, and anatta, impermanence, suffering, and non-self. But at every stage, you come to experience with deeper understanding, sharper understanding, clear understanding through experience. That's it. When you're a rookie, when you start understanding anicca, dukkha, anatta, in the middle, anicca, dukkha, anatta, at the highest level, anicca, dukkha, anatta, the same thing. But each understanding is become deeper, more penetrative, sharper and clearer. That's the difference. So that you have no doubt about it anymore. That's why at the beginning I always mention, you understand but don't think that you have understood all. Just around the corner there's even higher and deeper way to understand the same thing. So always keep that in mind. And even with at the same level, some people would experience only with the materiality, the solution. Some people will experience both materiality and mentality, both mind and matter. It's, of course, it varies from one yogi to the other. It varies from their parami, and it varies in a right now, present sense, it's the intelligence and sharpness and deepness of concentration. But regardless, if you experience impermanence, that is what will give you or take you to liberation. You don't have to compete with this yogi or that yogi or who's deeper or who's sharper. We are not in a competition. We are simply experiencing it. Whatever you experience, if that understanding sink into your psyche, that is the one that will open up the liberation. So don't compete, don't compare. Just sense yourself whether you have really grasped this concept of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. That's the most important thing. So in here, the point we are making is, at this Benganyana, one truly experience and understand the law of impermanence, or the concept of impermanence, anicca, or passing away, or dissolution. That is the true understanding what come to experience. So, through this passing away, okay, we talk about true understanding of anicca. But at the same time, everything, so to speak, you touch, you see, you experience is just simply passing away, simply passing away, simply passing away. Because of that, you become everything. It's becoming like a process of torture. Because we naturally and normally like to identify ourselves with something. We like to solidify ourselves with something. We like to grasp onto something, hold onto something, some idea. That is our natural, normal state of mind, what we call normal. But in here, everything you cannot identify with. You cannot hold on to it. You cannot grasp some of it. Because as soon as you see it simply pass away, so you feel like you are on a constant state of being tortured. Constant state of being tortured. That kind of feeling, that kind of sensation is actually you are experiencing the concept of dukkha, suffering. That is the, first of all is anicca, and secondly dukkha. You are experiencing the constant state of torture. Because if you look at it, the material rising, falling, simply gone. Sensation, simply gone. And then all the mental formation, hardly anything. Consciousness, vijnana, simply disappear. Everything is. There is nothing you can hold on, you can grasp. And we are used to being holding on and grasping on. So you felt like you were in a torture chamber. That is dukkha. Suffering. In fact, that dukkha suffering, in a way, it's called the second noble truth, or the first noble truth. The noble truth of suffering. Existence is suffering. Life is suffering. Mind and matter is suffering. That is what you are experiencing. You actually experiencing the first noble truth, constantly disappear. The first one is anicca, impermanence. The second one is dukkha. Some people might experience the constant passing away a lot deeper and more prominent in the first phase, and they might experience the suffering in a second phase, both at the same time, but more distinctly and more prominently. But some yogi, they might experience that torturing sensation first, and then suddenly they might pin onto that impermanence on a second. What we say first and second is you're experiencing them both, but the emphasis your mind inclined to and experience to become one is more prominent than the other. One yogi, anicca become more prominent at the beginning and dukkha become more prominent later. And another yogi, dukkha become more prominent at the beginning and anicca become more prominent later. That's the only difference. But everything is in this one process. What is that? Constant dissolution. There's anicca. Constant dissolution, there's dukkha. And also the third general characteristic, anatta. Anatta is non-self, no soul, or uncontrollability. You have no control over anything, anywhere, anyhow. That's the concept of anatta, non-self or no soul. And here too, these systems, these phenomena are simply disappear. And you felt like you're being tortured. You don't want it. As you don't want it, what do we do whenever you don't want it? You change. You try to control. But you find that even if you try to control, you can't control. They're simply gone. You can't control that system. You can't control that constant passing away. You can't control that feeling of being tortured by the constant passing away. There's no control onto that system. And at the same time, whatever you see, both the mind and the matter, especially the mind, the consciousness, gone and gone and gone and gone and gone. That is giving you a sense of non-self. That is giving you a sense of no soul. If there is the eternal soul, indestructible soul, okay, that won't disappear like that. It is disappearing, one disappear. In this case, you can't even see the arising. So, in one way, the constant disappearance of the consciousness give you an understanding into anatta, non-self, or no soul. And lack of control give you the understanding of non-self and uncontrollability of this phenomenon. So that is the third concept. And again, which one comes first, which second, which third? Okay. Depends on the yogi based on their parami. Some people, they experience this concept of anatta first and the other one later. Later in a sense of they become more prominent and dominantly experiencing. But they are all happening at the same time. It is just a matter of whichever is become more pronounced for you, earlier or middle or later part. That's why the Buddha said, whenever you experience one characteristics, you understand the other two. So some might experience this non-self first and automatically the other two comes in, and so it's the same with same permutation or combination. As such, one should understand. But one thing was, once you become skillful, and you might be able to experience these individually by inclining your mind. But this is far. You have to go really high up, and then after that high up, when you are doing the revision at that level, not at this level. At this level, no. You simply have to observe what is prominent at that moment. So this Pingam Jnana is very, very good. In a sense, you really starting to develop a habit or understanding, or even in your nature of letting go. You develop very sharply at that level. Before, in the lower jnanas, the letting go is not that much. And here is you have experienced there's nothing that you can hold on. Constantly, instantly disappear. Because of that experience, at the same time, the other side is the nature of letting go is starting to get imprinted in your mind. Letting go is starting to develop. That is the character forming process at this stage. Quite sharply, quite distinctly. Of course, everybody knows how to let go, but in here is, it is imprinted into your system. Letting go, letting go, letting go. That is Pinga Jnana, insight knowledge into the dissolution of mind and matter. So may all of you be able to practice Satipatthana Vipassana meditation and climb the stages of insight from one to the other, and may you be able to let go of all things, mind and matter, as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham pujemi. Dhammam pujemi. Sangham pujemi.